What's going on? So now we will continue on with the Active Directory penetration testing series. In this video, guys, we're gonna learn how to dump password hashes of the current computer or the current Windows client that you have just got access to. Now we assume that this computer is part of domain controller, and assuming that this computer is not a domain controller. So right now we have compromised, as we have spoken in the last videos, we have just compromised a computer that is part of a domain controller. Now, in the last videos, or in the previous videos, guys, we just enumerated the users, the groups, the organizational units, the computers, the domain controller. We also enumerated the currently logged in users on the machine and the sessions on the domain controller. We have just gathered enough information about the Active Directory structure, the domain controller, and now it is time for us to elevate our privileges on the current Windows client. Now, your objectives and your goals on during your testing, it's dependent upon your the environment, the scope of the penetration testing plan, etc. So now, before jumping into using Mimikatz, let's try to summarize what we have just learned in the past videos. So basically, guys, here, in a typical scenario where you have just compromised a Windows client, you're gonna have only shell access, right? This one. You're gonna have shell access. Now you see here the PS, because I have a switch from command line to PS. You do that by running PowerShell. Okay, just type PowerShell. It will switch the command line to PowerShell. All right. Now PowerShell is your friend when you do Active Directory penetration testing. It is the easiest way. Now, in the second scenario, or another scenario, we would have gained access to the compromised system with Metasploit. Now, this is a totally different scenario, but the logic and the methodology is the same, all right? Now, assuming that we have gained shell access, limited command prompt at the Windows client that is part of the domain controller. What's your next step? Your next step is to transfer the required files, like the scripts that you want to use, right? So the scripts will not be readily available on the system that you have just compromised. So that's why this is my, the playbook I have. Whatever the command I need to grab, I use it from here. So let's search for, let's see the how to download the, okay. So this one, as you can see here, we can use specific PowerShell command to download a file of our choosing, right? So I'm gonna put the command in the description box so you can see how to download files of your choosing into your victim machine. Assuming that we have just downloaded the Powershell master, which is a very popular PowerShell collection of PowerShell scripts for penetration testing purposes. Now we have just downloaded that, and we navigated to the directory of it. So basically here, we need first to enumerate. So in order to enumerate, we need to go to Recon, which is the module dedicated for enumerating the system. So we go to Recon. This is what we have. So we have the get computer details, PowerShell script, get HTTP status, etc. Now, before running any of these scripts, right, you need to import all of them. You do that by import module, and you put the script name. So let's say HTTP status. So you need to import all of these guys before running any command, all right? Now, the next step is to run your enumeration. Now, one rule of thumb, guys, is to have the, what do they call it? have the instructions available so you can have a reference for all your commands. So here, this is the script page or the tool page. We can go to Recon and we go down. We see a list of all the commands we can use for the purposes of enumeration. All right, so now, first thing we need to do, guys, we need to get the current domain name. So we take that. Paste. So it's saying here the forest is penetration testing active.com. The domain controllers are server test pentesting active.com, right? So this is the computer name of the domain controller. Okay, and this is the name of the domain, and this is the forest. Now all of this information should be kept in your note, right? Next thing, we should get the list of all users, right? Like we did in the previous videos. Let's see who are the users on the system or the domain controller. Let's clear the screen and we put get net user. All right, go up. Okay, so first we have the, as you can see, the administrator account. And administrator account, as you can see, is the admin of the domain controller. And as you can see here, the username is administrator. As well, guys, we have also what other variables we have here? All right, this is for the administrator. It stops on this line. Okay. So here, as you can see, the user administrator, it is member of, as you can see here are the groups from which to which the administrator belongs to. As you can see, we have domain schema admins, users, pentesting active directory, domain admins. So this is the administrator account, and these are the groups that they are part of. Now the next user account is guest account. I don't think you have anything to do with the guest account in your penetration testing. You know, it may have some use, but not for now. Now the next user is the name of my machine, and down I created some users for demonstration purposes. Let's go down, and here you can see Mike, username Mike, and Mike is member of users and HR. So Mike is part of HR group. We go down further, we see Connie, and Connie is part of member of. So Connie is part of IT group and users. So now we have enumerated the users and their groups and who are the administrators and which groups they are part of. Now, you can also get the list of printers if available on the system, but it's not for my it's not for use in my case right now. Now, as you can see, we go down a bit. Here is, as you can see, get net group. We get all the groups running on the domain controller. So let's clear. So here are the current groups on the domain controller. As you can see, we have IT, we have HR, domain controllers, domain computers, and so far, or by now, we have determined who are the members of these groups, right? Get net group member. Here we can get the members of a specific group, right? So here we can put paste. And as you can see, it gives you here the current user right now I am using, to which group they are part of. They are part of domain admins. And the member is, as you can see, administrator, part of users. But suppose that we want to get info about a specific user. So we get get net group name, and we put here dash user let's say Connie. Invalid arguments. Let me put user. Oop. Let's go up. Group name IT. Okay. So now we specify the group that we want to list the members of this group. So here we have the members of the group IT is Connie. I can see also the members of the HR group. So Mike is part of HR. So now I've determined we have made kind of map of the users, right? And their groups, including the administrator. Now the next step, guys, we need to understand, we need to know who are the currently logged in users, right? So right now I am in a machine that is part of domain controller. I want to know who is currently logged in, by whom it is being used right now. So let's here go to getNet logged on. Without specifying parameters, any of these commands, guys, all right, gives you details about the current workstation or machine that you are using. In my case, it's my machine here. So in order to run this command on another users groups, you need to specify the parameters. So let's see on the current machine who we have logged in. Getnet logged in. So here I have many stuff logged into this machine, including the domain controller and this user, localhost. Okay, let's see that we want to see on specific computer name. Now, because of for demonstration purposes, I don't have many computers running that are part of the domain controller. But if you want to see who are the currently logged in users, as I specified in the last video, use computer name. And you're going to tell me, how do I get the computer name that I want to see the users of? So let's go back and we see get net computer. It will list all the computers that are part of the domain controller. Paste. So you have see one computer, right? So let's go back, get net logged on, and we put here the computer name, and we specify the computer name that you want, in which you want to see the currently logged in users. Now, why do you want to see the currently logged in users or the active sessions? Why? Because we want to tune down our testing to the currently active users. We don't want to test some user who is not using the computer, right? Let's say Mike is off in holiday, and I am testing his, password policy or trying to enumerate his machine. He's not logged in, right? So we need to see who are the logged in users. We see that by using the getNet logged in, specifying the computer name, or we run that in general, we see all the users. Now, after we have determined who are the currently logged in users, we can then draw our map, update our map, and tune further our attack to specified users. Now, the next step, guys, after that, okay, so let me remove that. Okay, now let's see here, how can we move laterally in the network? Now, okay, you have told me everything about the Active Directory structure. I want to test the domain controller. I want to see what are the running ports on this domain controller. Now, in the previous video, we saw that how we can use the script provided by Offensive Security, and by using the filters, we specify what is the service that you want to enumerate. We use the concept of service principal names. Now how? Now how come? No, not how come. What if we want to use this Powershell? In penetration testing, we want time is not your friend, it's your enemy, I think, because you want to do everything as quick as possible without any distractions. So getting script off and on, copy pasting script, running, jumping from script to script, it's not something recommended. So here they have a module which is port scan, right? So invoke port scan will enable you to port scan any computer on the active directory, right? So we have already determined what are the current computer names. So what we can do here, we can scan the computer names of our choosing. So we can invoke port scan, or without this, and we specify minus host, and here we specify the computer name. Now, let me go back and get the computer name of the current machine. Okay, this is the computer name. Now I can invoke host. I'm going to type that manually. The copy paste is not working on the server. I have no clue about this. And testing active directory. It's ambiguous. Possible matches include hosts. Okay. Saying my parameter is ambiguous. Okay. Ambiguous. Now it is doing port scan on the specified computer I have just passed through the command line. So the host name, this one, and the open ports are 80, 338, 445, 139. So here you go. You know what are the active ports on the domain controller. 80 for HTTP, 338 for remote desktop, 445 for NetBIOS, 139, I have no clue what is that. Closed ports, so emailing is closed actually, 119, 21, 23, sorry. So basically now we have determined what are the current open ports on the Active Directory. Now we can start enumerating more and more. But my recommendation is once you reach this point and your goal is to compromise the Active Directory, my recommendation is to establish SSH tunnel as we have specified in the previous videos. In the previous videos, we have specified that once we landed on an internal client on the current network and we have discovered another client of interest, if we want to interact with that client from our machine, in our case it is Kali Linux, using all of the penetration testing tools, we need to establish SSH tunnels. Now, we can do that with NetSH. We can establish SSH tunnel between this machine and the Kali machine. All right, and on the Kali machine, we can go back to the videos and see how we can interact directly now with the domain controller, and we can do all of the enumeration, the exploitation, all the kind of attacks, all the kind of testing, right from Kali machine, and we can get rid of this machine. Of course, it's gonna stay alive, but it's not of my interest right now. It's only intermediary between me and the Active Directory domain controller. Okay, suppose that, or assuming that you have, okay, there are many other modules actually worth mentioning. If you go back, you see on the PowerShell Mafia, we have many other modules. We have privilege escalation, we have persistence. We can try all of these once we have downloaded the script. So we can go back. So suppose I want to try privilege escalation. I go to privilege. I list the modules. I can see get system. All you have to do, import all of these guys, go to privilege escalation, and start your privilege escalation journey from here. You see, I consider this video is kind of full, like you can consider it as full penetration testing scenario. Enumeration, privilege escalation. All you have to do is to navigate the directory of uh, the module and then start your enumeration or start your attack. Now, let's remove all of that. Now we have arrived to the level where we want to dump the hashes of the current user, right, of the current system. Let's say that you may have compromised a domain controller, right, and you want to compromise the administrator password so you can log in whenever you want. So we use the Mimikatz. So let's go to Mimikatz directory and Mimikatz. So first we run Mimikatz. No, first we go to x64 and we see what we have. Then we run Mimikatz. What? What's happening? Oh, I am Powershell now. Okay, okay. So I can now, what do I do now? This is because I am in Powershell. I need to get back to CMD. I don't remember how to do that. Let's go to switch back. Okay. I think it's very simple, but I forget many stuff because of the heaviness of material I see every day. So let's go down. No, not that. I hope you guys, one of you know what it is. Maybe you can put that in the comment section, but it is not live stream. No. Okay, I know all of these are answers, but not for our case. If we type CMD, okay, now we're back. As simple as that. Okay. Now we are in CMD. Now we can run Mimikatz. Okay. Mimi. Okay, this is Mimikatz, guys. The first thing before doing anything with Mimikatz, you need to elevate the privileges or make sure that our privileges can be used to run Mimikatz modules. So here, what do we need to do? We need to type privilege debug. Did I type something wrong, right? What's happening here? So remove that. The A should be here. Okay. It's saying, okay. Now, the next thing, very simple, dump the hashes of the currently logged in users on the current workstation, not on everything, right? Don't confuse that. So we use this module and we specify log on passwords. Again, Log on passwords. So what's wrong now? Okay, let's go up. Go up, go up, go up, go up, go up. So now we have, I don't know why it is hidden, but this is, let's remove it. I don't know why it is eating the upper section. I'm sorry, Einstein, but I'm gonna do the same thing over and over again. All right, let's go up again. So it's eating the upper section. I don't know why, but oh no, okay. So here the username. I'm interested to see the administrator actually. The administrator is not here. But let's go up. Let's be methodical here. So username, server test, and as you can see, the NTLM and SHA1 hashes. These are the hashes you are interested in. You take them and you crack them offline with John the Ripper. This one, username DWM1, and these are the hashes. Username server test. Basically, the server test is kind of, the administrator username of this machine, I think. These are the hashes, and we go down DWM2. These are the services, right? So we have them. We have them. Now also, something also to mention, guys, is there is something called the Kerberos authentication, or the ticket that works on granting tickets, ticket granting services, ticket granting requests. We will explain these later, but with Mimikatz, you can also steal the passwords using the tickets, right? I'm gonna explain that later. I know it's kind of new, but that's for now. That's for now. We're gonna so far, guys, we have explained so much about Active Directory penetration testing, but we will continue on with other videos explaining more and more details about this topic. All right then, thank you so much.